Al Moroccans. Told you about Alfred and vaporizing chambers. Told you about Alfred and vaporizing chambers, FEMA coffin and cans, biometric palm stamps, paying for things, scan body parts like cyborgs. God is an action word, don't call for my Lord or Christ or Savior to help or guide you. Since they never answer when you call, no need to try to. Got them to correct status or China might buy you. Find your organless body floating in the bayou. I do my best to uplift, that's more than most that got one charge expunged and they wanna boast. Why? When that court is administrative, meaning you won your case on an admin slave ship. Status of the court is not even a court. Plus I'm sure your expunged charge got tossed. So don't talk unless you can show a transcript, cause I'm not buying the Ku Klux Klan free man tricks.
Ooh, it's right. Coming from the room, it's like the place in room. The eyes resurrected. Everything dead now has been manifested. Ooh, it's right. Back from the tomb, for ya all get consumed. Young-minded and reckless, the eye can't stand when we divided defenseless.
I stay packing these metaphysical stackables, not Lego lines I wrote back in the Capitol. In a committing past life, carving stones uncrackable. Most of these rappers are drones, easily hackable. 360 deals keep them roped up and smackable. Living lifestyles that don't match the capital. Rocket chains dripping, iced out and snatchable. While the agents stay coked up, uncrackable. This movement ain't trackable, fake, fraud, and magical. It's mathematical, practical, true, and factual. Active more, keeping it moving on behalf of you. And these babies being birthed out of these ladies and civics, they're never given naming the daughters Mercedes and butlers they'll never have, but families all in the daydream. It's crazy, living a timeline in HD, like watching your family get murdered in HD. Either we're in denial or we all got ADHD. Afro-dominant, hyper-deficit on the daily.
The eyes resurrected. Everything dead now has been manifested. Ooh, it's right. Back from the tomb, for ya all get consumed. Young-minded and reckless, the eye can't stand when we divided defenseless.
Sound the alarm? Ring the bell. This life is an illusion. Don't get attached to the shell. It's an invasion and intrusion of your molecules and cells. Mind the words that you use and have you trapped. It's a spell. Part of the reason why we hooligans and humanity is fell, rejuvenated, renewed again. The bass and the L from the mountaintop we shout to our leaves what we yell. Ready or not, you're gonna have to be prepared to rebel. Bodies lying on the ground. You ready for the smell?
Ready or not. I keep Akashic records. While robotics wanna stomp in records, concealed spirit in all our vessels. Stay revealing with the moss, our captives from believing will be formula to ancestors. Treasures begin to open up my mind's book, tracing back reflection to a time look. Looking in the mirror, facing my crook. Higher self fighting to survive through a fraud, to facades, claiming to be God's sent daughters to alter their rods. Hook to Hollywood images at the cost of our knowledge and our mystics. Is this attempt to knock clock our existence? Is this weapons of mass destruction? No future for our children. Is this mental warfare through cosmetic nutrition? Is this time to wake up, recognize misfits, erase their existence? There's none of your nuclear threats that could kill this, could kill this, could kill this.
The place in room. The eyes resurrected. Everything dead now has been manifested. Ooh, it's right. Back from the tomb, for ya all get consumed. Young-minded and reckless, the eye can't stand when we divided defense.
I hear a prophet quoting, I'm running with my chakras open. Actually acting, homie, not just hoping. This life is a bitch, so I am not eloping. Fitness illusion, traveling this plane surely won't be my conclusion. They'll say I have a contusion, thought process delusional. I ain't playing the game, so I ain't losing though. Are they ready? I doubt it. Should I worry about it? Nah, I'll go to war for more. I guess I'm devoted. Here I come, ready or not. ready or not.
Living ready and not on purpose and with a plot. Don't get caught with a dot in the chest without an adequate level blessed or vest based on what we trust the most. It's of utmost importance that we trust the flow. It's how we grow from one point to the next. Simplify the complex. Since battle time, there's less time to define. Just act with less breath.
Ooh, it's right. Coming from the womb, this yacht, the place in ruins. The eyes resurrected. Everything dead now has been manifested. Ooh, it's right. Back from the tomb, for ya all get consumed. Young minded and reckless, the eye can't stand when we divided, defenseless.
Where you been, ho? You mind your motherfucking business. When my life fell apart, you didn't have any interest. When I had no job of my own, they didn't want me sell white. What happened? We used to stick up stores, a squad was tight. Rob taxi drivers, sell ounces of blunt guts. A handful of crushed pine needles for dumb cuff. When I was down and out, you tried to drag me further. If I died following you, who'd be responsible for my murder? Wise men break when the funds get low. Trying to feed my family, all I'm seeing round town is blow. You heard about so-and-so? Hope that too, I heard he got zapped. Wasn't he a part of your crew? Many people found themselves a home under henchman. But who's your brother's keeper when you need their help badly? The whole time I'm gone, only few checked in. How's your children? You pray to God for their blessings. So when you hear this track, don't ask us alcohol. Simple message you can pass to the rest. She said, "Up y'all." And if I come back to stay feeling comfortable, you can say whatever you want. I think you're full of bull. No, I don't want your weed. I won't even take a pull. I see my life from so many angles, even through the wool. Pulled over my eyes, but I can see clearly the pain is gone. Thank heavens for my angels and all my children born. Up it like a pawn, lights, camera, action. I don't need wagon jumpers trying to join the faction. I'm not trying to break shit down. I'm not here for fractions. Read more books if you don't get it, or just ask them.
Ooh, it's right. Coming from the womb, this yacht, the place in ruins. The eyes resurrected. Everything dead now has been manifested. It's right. Back from the tomb, for ya all get consumed. Young minded and reckless, the eye can't stand when we divided, defenseless.
Even though I'm king and a god, and these things that are hard, I can bleed and get scarred in this physical body. So I move like a sergeant, not like a pawn in this garden. Carving the path, not the first, not the last, till the end. It's a task for a master. Shattered the box, no keys, no locks, no sheep, no flocks, no pastors. Starving for cabbage, hardening savage, causing the lavish, a pause in their status. Laws of the land is towards the advantage of bandits and bastards. We rise from the ashes.
We got rituals for damn near anything you want to do, and we can give them to you tonight.
Hey. Chris G. Still get it from the intellect reservoir, cosmic surfing. These two sons of God didn't come from virgins. Ether makes up these gods. We rode light angles to the earth plane. Again, trapped in skin, but a different name. Monads, been here since Ruth and Moabitess. Thought you killed me when Drew and Marcus got toe tagged. That's why I'm here with the Grand Chairman of Fear. Truth make you think critical like severe. Doing the God things, I make ancients appear. And all I'm hearing is knocking while I'm watching a seer. Ancient rituals and sound healing notes through Pro Tools. Eye-to-eye transfers knowledge, you need no schools. Waking up the masses, music is class and stage. Most fail cause they look like the flying shades. Following demons possess Kanye's and Lil Wayne's. Expecting to hit me with a cross and a Greek name. In a melon cause me D&B, the link up with no cheese. Orishas in me, I'm not what you don't see. I'm not one of those armchair revolutionaries. Allah's in me. Sick and tired of being sick and tired, but that's just where we get our strength, man. The Christ is in me. I'm not a hustler, pimp, gangster, wankster, but trust me, they all in me.
I got it when the moon shifted the doom in the melanated womb, sipping milk in the honeydew and triple black boom. Touchdown, traveling on planet Earth where we crush clowns while I'm managing this course. Glitter. These poor pussies pretending to be misters. I cannot sin, but I can be very sinister. My limitations are limited as I do a lap around the galaxy. Had to gather light and rally back and fuck the fallacy. And cause of that, I got labeled the antagonist. And it didn't help that I cuss and bun cannabis and bun candles and wear symbols of Orishas. And I put a hex on the heads of 7 preachers with 1 trailer spit aimed at the pulpit. Crushed a crucifix, a whole tabernacle backflip. I'm not Catholic, but if I choose my bare resonance, you may just catch a glimpse of Lucifer's semblance. Up and down Jacob's ladder with my melanin, the vessel of the fear none. You can find the devil in.
God's in me. I say that so serious. Turn a nigga to a god, show you I'm serious. Got him proclaiming and changing and facing with no guilt or fear. All these clansmen masons, we stand on squares, circumscribe our own circumference. God is Lakshmi, bless me with abundance of prosperity. I speak with clarity, not to confuse. Put Moorish in front everything from Christian to Jews. I'm the anchor, so I don't listen to news on some snail type vibrations, making me snooze. Calling a parker to call down our UFO crews. Like Yahweh or Dogan shamans, we call on Ra Amen. For sun ritual, spiritual, I'm physically trapped. Rewind, play back, and get your pioneer tap. Like Gregory Hines, when I'm spitting the rhymes. A&Rs want me to blow, but all rights reserved when we sign. In the melon, cause me D&B to link up with no cheese. Orishas in me, I'm not what you don't see. I'm not one of those armchair revolutionaries. Allah's in me, sick and tired of being sick and tired. We get
Fertilization. Omakulu, Olentu, Shumala, Ohija, Chiaja, Cheola, Alcala, Locayo, Cocomo, La Lula. I need some Lara shades. Issa, Hamu, Noku, Mana, Imatu, Chichi, Chuba, Choba, Egati, Kakubo, Isala, Isala, Azimu, Azuzu, Azuzu, Numaresh, Alori, Ayo, Never, Raima, Notorio.
Islam Moors. We can go anytime at this point. At this point, we can go anytime. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Wanna always give honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. As the Moor did a marvelous job getting us ready. Marvelous job. We still have elements that want to discredit the position. One, we know because a lot of these people are in their patriarchal mindset. Two, they're in their European mindset. So their eyes are crossed, don't know where they're going. We're going to clear some things up just so you're not confused and think that you could deny your prophet. You know, again, the ones who already know what's up, they're studying. They have no time for this. They got stuff to do. The ones who taking a break, they're here, chilling. See what's good with the Moors. But there's no way there's going to be an opportunity for anybody because they don't do it to anybody else's profit. They don't do videos purposely with our profit like they do other people's profit. And we already know that there are sent people who they don't have any intentions of assisting in the work of waking our people. Their whole game is keep the people dumb. Right? Everything's there and was established, but they don't do that with anybody else's profit. And they don't play games with anybody else's profit. They don't even play games with people's false profit. Somebody in the quote-unquote conscious community, somebody always got to bring up Noble Drew Ali and what he didn't do. The point that they know about him and don't go with his teachings is the issue. The point that they know who Noble Drew Ali is. They can tell you whatever books he plagiarized and all this. You know, the prophet came to us because we needed him the most. We were the one in the worst position. The master teacher was presented to us, gave us certain teachings. And then people today not even given honors. You give everybody else honors. When it comes to the Moors, you get no honors. We're sovereign citizens, and you're not gonna listen to what the Moors are saying because it's just like church and all this. This is your only salvation. Mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, celestial. This is your only salvation. This has to be present somewhere. If it's not present there, then I'll tell you, you will find out the hard way. Don't get mad at Moors.
20, that's the actual facts. The 110, that's the student enrollment. The 114, that's the lost found Muslim lesson number 1. The 140, that's the lost found Muslim lesson number 2. And the 136, that's the English lesson number C1. So you have them all there in the links in the link that I shared. Oh, you know what? Oh, just for the record. Just for the record. What happened there?
If you're in a position right now where you're feeling uncertain about what's going on in the world, and you feel that life has handed you a curveball, and you've realized that you need to take control of your future, well, hold on for a few minutes, because what I'm about to share with you may just be the answer to your problems. Now, don't let the media negativity bring you down in a crisis. It's important to remember that life is always uncertain. Traditional jobs are never really secure.
That's background music, buddy.
Okay. Just for the record.
Now, when it comes to Jesus, Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, study. So we know when it says Jesus, that it's not talking about some European guy. We know this. We know that in the 1900s, going into the 1930s, Noble Drew Ali took the Moorish movement and added a religious component to it. Because he realized that at that time, that's where our people's mind was at. So that whole concept of meet them where they are and all that people talk about today, that's where that came from. Him reaching them on their level. So they have no excuse not to declare and proclaim their nationality. Because look, our holy book says Jesus as well, just like yours. But it got stuck there. That's why you see more Science Temple of Americas acting like a church today. Because that's an aspect of this that when Noble Drew Ali said this is religious, they got stuck there. Why did they get stuck there? Because there was no Noble Drew Ali to give them their direction. And everybody who was a quote-unquote disciple of Noble Drew Ali that was head of a temple was probably a sellout. That's why there's nothing. That's why there's absolutely nothing Moorish today. Because everyone sold out. Now again, Jesus is not some European. We spoke about it in the IG yesterday about people get their metaphysical Bible dictionary so you can know what Bible words, religious words mean from a metaphysical perspective so you can have a broader range of under, over, and understanding. In our literature, Jesus means justice. Justice is one of our principles. So we know that it's not a being, a man walking around and somebody has a story of him in some book. You ask for different people, he would be called by different names. Why? Because he studied amongst many different schools of thought. And every school of thought identifies that individual as something different. The ones who entered Egyptian science knew him as Professor Drew. The ones who were internationally known knew him as Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. Those who were caught up in some church or whatever saw him as Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Those that wanted to keep playing the game saw him as Timothy Drew. So there's all these different layers that make up the whole. And then with the Moorish Divine and National Movement, there were these layers that made up the whole. There was manufacturing companies. There was a Sisters Auxiliary, where the women handled their own affairs. All these different layers. So when you see Jesus in Moorish literature, and your mind goes to some European, that's you. That's not the Moorish literature. Because again, if you study the Moorish literature, you'll find out that he lets you know what Jesus is. And by you knowing what Jesus is, now you know what it's not. And it's not anything that they've tell you that it is. Islam Moors. If anybody has any interjections yet.
Islam more. You can hear me, Grand Sheik?
Yeah, Moore. We got you loud and clear.
No, I just want to add on, like we always say, the prophet was and is the man.
Yep. The prophet was and is the man. Right? Is the man.
Just the way he brought everything. The way he, changed the way people think, the concepts, bringing back the principles. Just because, just like when you mention Jesus, and if your mind goes to European, like we already know that Jesus is a code word for justice. But again, if Noble Drew Ali didn't bring that, we'd still be thinking European, or the man, not esoteric thinking. Still playing those games. That's why in the way the prophet brung it, still using Jesus, because we already know the time that he came in, the information, the time period our people were in. That's why he still was using the concept Jesus. But knowing that his people are us as the people will eventually start studying and realizing that there's a whole new science behind this word Jesus and the whole concepts behind it. That it's not just exoteric. There's an esoteric version to this whole breakdown.
Islam.
Islam.
Okay, I just want to check something. All right. So the Moorish is simple. There are a set of question and answers, and they tell the nation of Islam also, one from 101 to 120. Now, the reason why I was wondering if Noble Drew Ali got it mixed up is because there is something called the Acts of Thomas. Okay. There's also another thing called, if I'm not mistaken, the Gospel of Thomas. But anyway, this is the quote from Dr. Bob Ehrman in his book, Did Jesus Exist? He wrote, so too with the Acts of Thomas. The whole point of the narrative of this intriguing book is precisely that Thomas really is Jesus' brother. In fact, he is his twin. Not only that, he is his identical twin. It's not because he uniquely agrees with Jesus or understands him particularly well, quite the contrary. The very first episode of the book shows that Thomas does not agree with Jesus and does not see eye to eye with him in the least. After Jesus' resurrection, the other apostles instruct Thomas to go to India to convert the pagans, and he refuses to go. It's only when Jesus appears from heaven that he forces his twin brother to proceed against his wishes. That's why I was wondering if Drew Ali got it mixed up, if he was told or he read about the Acts of Thomas and for whatever reason did not know or did not realize that according to this act, it's not Jesus who went to India, but it was his brother, Thomas.
No. we, again, don't deal with the man. Jesus is justice. Justice is resurrection. The justice exists. Justice is brother. Justice. When I see Jesus, I see justice. I don't see anything else. So we have to go to those who see that to get that perspective. And people really see that. Now, if they don't have it messed up, how could somebody else have it messed up? Now, you can go Holger Kirsten. She has her book. Jesus lived in India. His unknown life before and after the crucifixion. They were explaining in the book how not only did Jesus live in India as a boy, but the whole after the crucifixion was because there's no crucifixion because they didn't kill him. He escaped and went to India. Now that's some justice. If that's not justice, why Noble Drew Ali would say Jesus. And you talk to the people in India, they know Jesus. They also know that that's justice. Just like the ancient Kemetans knew Ma'at was justice. Ma'at wasn't the sister and then she's the god of whatever. No, she was justice. It's not Ma'at. Everything that's embodied in justice is Jesus. Islam more.
Islam.
I don't know, brother.
But
Yeah,
that's that. Go ahead, Sheik.
No, go ahead.
But that's how they can cause an argument or a debate or get people sidetracked by pumping the dogma paradigm. Because soon as they start talking about the dogma side, you get 3,500 views.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because now people are interested because the whole world has been warped into believing this dogma story. So now they only know the dogma side. So when he goes and tells the story of dogma, it doesn't seem as if this man, so-called Jesus, could be in India, because that's not how the dogma story is told.
Yeah.
So he can keep up with the argument. Anybody could, because that's not how the dogma story is told. So you can always put up this argument. But those who are in the knowing, the gnosis, the people who do know what's that's in the knowledge, they know exactly what Jesus is and how it can go from one place to another place to another place, because it's justice, like you said.
It's not a man.
But once you go with the man, you can play games. You can play all the games, and at the end, pass the collection plate or hit subscribe, donate to my Patreon. That's the same thing, man. What's the difference?
Then you have to ask yourself, what collection plate? If there's no Jesus, if he escaped crucifixion, what collection?
Right.
What are they fighting for? Islam, brother Malik.
Islam, Morris, Islam.
Islam.
Islam, more.
I wanna add in Islam. Peace to you. Peace. On this character. Okay. Yeah, because
right now.
The territory I'm in is in Georgia. My appellation for the record is Menelik Al Rahim Brown L. Chapter 31, Holy Instructions from Prophet Justice. The peace of society, the dependence of justice, the happiness of individuals on safe enjoyment of all.
Hold on.
Okay.
We'll do it the other way. I'm gonna call you right now.
Yeah.
You can call you right now. Not really. They're breaking you up crazy.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah, Islam. Hold on, Mark. All right, go ahead, Mark.
Okay. I want to chime in with this. I got two things to add, right? So it says in chapter 31 and the Circle 7 Quran, the holy instructions from the prophet, justice. The peace of society dependeth on justice. The happiness of individuals on the safe enjoyment of all their possessions. Keep the desires of thy heart, therefore, within the bounds of moderation. Let thy hand of justice lead them aright. Cannot an evil eye on the goods of thy neighbor, let whatever is his property be sacred from thy touch. Let no temptation allure thee, nor any provocation excite thee, to lift up thy hand to the hazard of his life. Defrain him not in his character, bear no false witness against him, corrupt not his servant to cheat or forsake him, and the wife of his bosom. O tempt not to sin, it will be a grief to his heart, which thou cannot not relieve an injury to his life, which no reparation can atone. And thy dealings with men be impartial and just, and do unto them as thou wouldst thou should do unto thee. Be faithful to thy trust, and deceive not the man who relieth upon thee. Be assured it is less evil in the sight of Allah to steal than to betray. Oppress not the poor, and defraud not of his hire and laboring man. When thou sellest for gain, hear the whispering of conscience, and be satisfied with moderation, nor from the ignorance of thy buyer take any advantage. Pay the debts which thou owest, for he who gave thee credit relieth upon thine honor, and to withhold from him his due is credit relieth upon thy honor, and to withhold from him his due is both mean and unjust. Finally, O son of society, examine thy heart, call remembrance to thy aid, and if any of these things thou hast transgressed, make a speedy reparation to the utmost of thy power. Now that's just for what you were saying, Grashik, about justice, because the prophet already laid out what justice is, because the real character of Jesus is Yeshua. Now, I wanna add to that too by going to
Ruth the Moabitess. Okay? Now, Ruth is a connection to Yeshua, which we call Jesus. And the prophet already knew this. Okay? So I'm gonna read this. It says Ruth, persons of the story. Naomi, El Mitet, Mahonli, Shalim, Ruth, Opal, Boaz, and it says a wealthy former of Bethlehem and kinsman of Naomi repairs gleaners, a second kinsman of Naomi. So it says the persons of the story Hebrew who went to live in Moab, sons of Naomi and El Amichi, daughters-in-law of Naomi and El Amichi. Okay? Then it says Moab, Bethlehem of Judah. One of the sweetest stories in the Bible is that of Ruth the Moabitess. Many of the pages of the Old Testament are filled with the noise and tumult of battle, but these tales breathless breeze only of peace and calm, of sunny harvest days when fair Ruth gleaned in the fields around the old town of Bethlehem. And it came to pass in the days when the judge judged that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his two sons. And the name of the man was El-I-Melich, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of his two sons Mahalun and Chelon, men of Bethlehem, Judah. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. And Elamich, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her two sons. And they took them wives of the woman of Moab. The name of the one was Opal, or Opha. Yeah, Opha. And the name of the other, Ruth. And they dwelt there about 10 years. And Mahon and Shilon died, both of them. And the woman was bereft of her two children and of her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the country of Moab. For she had heard in the country of Moab that the Lord had visited his people and given them bread. And she went forth out of the place where she was, and her two daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return unto the land of Judah. And Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, go return each of you to her mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant you that ye may find rest each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they left up their voice and wept. And they said to her, nay, but we will return with thee to thy people. And Naomi said, turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Turn again, my daughters, go your way. Okay, so that's just a little, I got a little bit of history more about Moab, which Moors talk about Moab and Canaanland, okay, which started the tales of Jesus, which we all know Jesus is Yeshua, and Ruth is his grandmother. Mm-hmm. So when these Moors come, which they don't know they Moors working for the colonists, okay, we already know what they're trying to do. They're trying, just like the Moor said, they're trying to use dogma, how dogma was projected out there for the masses, and they going in between the lines of that, because this is a depth knowledge. Mm-hmm. Okay? A lot of people do not get this knowledge. They're not privy to this knowledge. So they'll get out there again and try to spin the narrative again to make things circumvent with what they're trying to push. Okay? And we already understand that. So when we see, fraudulent things like this coming from our own people, all right, it's not coming from the European. These allegations are coming from our own people. So I'm trying to figure out how much they're paying you. What incentives you get. That's how I'm looking at it more. And I yield the floor with that right there.
Islam, more. You have anything to add, Brother Yusuf?
Nope, the more just laid it all out right there.
Islam.
Those are part of Apocrypha. Those are the books who basically did not make it in the Bible as we know it. Let me read the comment first. Do you mean that Asiatic black men are being deceived, or that the Asiatic black man is a deception? The African American or blood group are the advanced human.
Well, again, once you're studying, you realize that everything has been told to our people. And they've taken position of be in denial of what's going on. Okay. They want to play be in denial. Right. No, this is not what we're saying. This is what their scholar, Dr. Ben, is saying. Black man of denial and his family.
This is their guy.
Their guy. Origination by the Egyptians and other indigenous Africans of the Nile Valley and the West and the Great Lakes regions, which they have for so long called Negroes, Bantus, Africans, south of the Sahara, Black Africans, and even niggers, or any other group of Africans indigenous to the continent the Greeks and Romans named Africa, which the Moors and Ethiopians named Al-Kebilan. So the Kemetic people are going to know that the place is called Al-Kebilan. They're not going to say Africa, because that's what the Greeks called it. All right, cool. Well, the Moors and the Ethiopians named Al-Kebilan. And again, when we go back to Noble Drew Ali's teachings, he told us that we're not Negro, Black, Colored, or Ethiopian, because that's a fraud too. So what is Dr. Ben really saying? If you study and you realize that Noble Drew Ali said, take Ethiopians off the list, what's he saying?
We were calling ourselves Moorish.
And this is just going on Google books and putting in Moors and putting in Egypt and see what comes up. Because it's obvious who the Moors are. Once you're studying, if you're not studying, it's not going to make sense to you. It's never going to make sense to you if you're not studying. Now again, just for reading's sake, just to put it in the ethers, because times are crazy and we need everything that we could get right now. Chapter 1 in the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. Life and works of Yahushua in Egypt and India. So the Quran was to reel them in, right? Because automatically they're going to see Jesus and they're going to jump on board, because it's not some European telling them about Jesus. It's their brother, and it's telling them about Jesus from a totally different perspective than they're hearing by their other brother, who's a Prince All Mason.
Right.
Call himself pastor.
Islam, Islam. Go ahead.
Right. So once they get into the movement, then they get into deeper lessons where Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood comes from. Because this is the second part of the Quran, which has to do with all the teachings that Yahushua received. Because you made it past the first gate, that it's not. Remember in 18 bronze men? 18 bronze men, you have to go past all the different. All right, so just got past the first one. That's not Jesus. Jesus means justice. They fooled you. Okay, now you got that. Well, okay, and so the next question is, well, if he's a man and all that stuff, what was his name then? And then that's where this comes in, where you get. And interestingly, the first chapter is dealing with him being in Egypt and India. Right? And Joshua came to Egypt land, and all was well. He tarried not upon the coast. He went at once to Zone, home of Elihu and Salome, who 25 years before had taught his mother in their sacred school. And there was joy when met these three. When last the son of Mary saw these sacred groves, he was a babe. And now a man had grown strong by buffets of every kind, a teacher who had stirred the multitudes in many lands. And Joshua told the aged teachers all about his life, about his journeying in foreign lands, about the meetings with masters, about his kind receptions by the multitudes. Elihu and Salome hears this story with delight. They lifted up their eyes to heaven and said, Our Father Allah, let now thy servants go in peace, for we have seen the glory of the Lord. And we have talked with him, the messenger of love and the covenant of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Through him I shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Through him, Emmanuel. Then Joshua stayed in Zone many days. Then he went forth unto the city of the sun, that men call Heliopolis, and sought admission to the temple of the sacred brotherhood. The council of the brotherhood convened, and Joshua stood before the Hierophant. He answered all the questions that were asked with clearness and with power. The Hierophant explained, Rabboni of the rabbinate, why come you here? Your wisdom is the wisdom of the gods. Why seek for wisdom in the halls of man? And Joshua said, in every way of earth life I would walk. In every hall of learning I would sit. The height that any man has gained, these I would gain. What any man has suffered I would meet, that I may know the griefs, the disappointments, and sore temptations of my brother man, that I may know just how to succor to those in need. I pray you, brothers, let me go into your dismal crypts. I would pass the hardest of your test. The master said, take then the vow of secret brotherhood. And Joshua took the vow of secret brotherhood. Again, the master spoke. He said, the greatest heights are gained by those who reach the greatest depths, and you shall reach the greatest depths. The guide then led the way, and in the fountain Joshua bathed, and when he had been clothed in proper garb, he stood again before the Hierophant. Now this is the same thing with Noble Drew Ali, that people could do their research, and people who research Noble Drew Ali are either going to say he was some gypsy that was traveling the world, he was some porter, so he got to travel the world, and why else would he be traveling the world if it's not to go study in these ancient places? How else is it that he's gonna get back here to this side, start the Moorish movement, and have people gravitate toward this? We spoke about the Moorish literature with the Arabians in a store. The Arabians in a store. An Arabian goes outside, finds a Moor just walking on the street, and brings the Moor into the store to prove that that man that's sitting in their store is Noble Drew Ali. And what was he doing? He was tying us back to our culture as Moors, which in Black Man of the Nile, the scholar with the Moorish doctorate is telling us that Africans and Asians and Arabs are Moors. And that they're indigenous. And they're tied to the Bantus and the Negroes and the Egyptians and the Ethiopians and the Carthaginians and the Nubians. Okay, so then if Dr. Ben knows that Moors are all these people, how come our people have such a hard time accepting the fact that Moors are all those people too? And they'll keep calling themselves all those other people, but never call themselves Moors. They want to know why they have to suffer right now. They shouldn't be suffering. The amount of things that Noble Drew Ali had in place for us as a people, and we just sit back and we're looking at some Europeans talking about they got some one world order, so we got to do something. Do what? Should have been did what you're supposed to do. 100 years this man's talking to you about what you're supposed to do. Crazy. I haven't even checked the voicemail yet, the temple voicemail. But the phone alone's going nuts. It's not, not a sense of, not a sense of no panic or whatever, but Moors are realizing what happened. It's making sense. Now that our back's against the wall, we're facing the point of a sword. Now it makes sense why Noble Drew Ali. Now it makes sense why stuff wasn't read every meeting. Now it makes sense why certain people banned their fez and stopped issuing nationality cards and all that. Right? It all makes sense. Yeah. Anybody have their Clock of Destiny Part 1 close?
Oh, the Clock of Destiny. Let me look that up more. Hold up.
You got book 1 there. I don't even know where that is right now. Right, but all these lessons that were presented to us by Noble Drew Ali was for us to have a clear mind, for us to not be confused. Right? And we've allowed ourselves to be confused, unfortunately. And we allowed ourselves to be confused because our own.
Yep. nobody else doing it to us. It's our own.
Yes, we're looking at Clock of Destiny 1, the last page. One of the ones said if you have your Clock of Destiny, last page. Right, because everything has been told. Loose cannons trying some stuff on us. If anybody wants to get in, have anything to share, there's the link. Anything to share, there's the link. Feel free to hit the button.
Well, I have a video entitled Deception of Asiatic Black Men. At some point, some people got together and said that we're not in accordance to the one that he deemed correct. They got rid of those other versions. You might have heard that. And if you read the Hadith, you hear about passages of the Quran that were abrogated. You hear about passages that were lost also. If I'm not mistaken, they are in the tomb of Unas. And we have the text on the temples. Is there any more that can tell me or tell us where he got that from? Who knows? Do you know where he got that from? That Jesus taught in India, Africa, and Europe?
Again, that's what we put out. That.
Yeah, that's what he put out more, and that is just disgusting.
In light of the falsehood, the truth is we know that it's Yahushua. Noble Ali knew that. Simple study, you could find that out.
Yep.
So
and this is facts, more. This is nothing that we're just coming and just saying. These are facts.
Well,
I'm trying to find that Clock of Destiny more.
That's what I'm looking for. Huh? Yeah, one of the Moors found it, but it was just for it was just for the last page in Clock 1. Talking about the dollar.
And if we need to bring up the Gospel of Thomas, I got that too.
Right. Now there was also something else in here. I forgot to write down.
Believe in Atlantis, not as in a mythical place or legendary place, but legend in a sense of something fantastic. And the vast majority of the people dealing with the subject matter have never hinted at those claims.
You got to think that hard, you know they're playing games.
Yeah, they're playing games more. That's all they do is play games and get up there and try to slander the prophet's teaching and the prophet's lessons, and not just that. They want to have the nerve. Then there's more right here. He don't even know he a Moor. He's from London or whatever he's from. Gets on there. Then he falsifies the dogma, trying to slander Moors about what our prophet brought us. I've never seen this more division than anything more. Just like you said earlier, they don't do other prophets like that. But when it comes to our prophet, okay, is they always trying to critique him with some bull crap, with some Moors don't know what they're reading, and then you have the SPLC that these dirty Moors are using, not showing their face.
Yeah.
Because every time we get on record more, we put our appellation for the record. We let people know who we are. Okay? Then you have these Moors that's cowards. I call them cowards and naysayers because they get online, they make these videos, all right? They don't show their face, they don't put their appellation on record. So who's really the dirty Moor? Who's really the dirty Moor? You have to go through all these channels to slander Moors. You have to go through all these channels to try to discredit our prophet. All right? That's the folly I dislike. I can't stand folly like that because first of all, they already know that their demise is coming. Okay? All this good talking about these Moors that's outside the temple and this and the third. Look, those temples for Moors outside the temple because those temples were set up for Moors like us to come inside the temple. So why is there a division? Why these Moors are double speaking, double talking? Why? Why are they doing that? Did they take the bag already?
Took something.
They took something more. They took something because their actions is homing in on the sellout. See, and they know they done for because this is now they really scared because business is not as usual. Okay, business is declining. They know, like I spoke to you earlier, that they footing. They don't have no grip on their slippers. I know how like we used to play basketball and we'll play basketball all night and run the soles off the blacktop and we don't have no grip on the well, that's what they did.
Yeah.
They ain't got no grip on their sneakers no more because they've been doing folly.
Yeah. I think Brother Rennie has Brother Rennie, you there?
Peace, Morris.
Peace, Islam, Mark.
Islam. I just came in on the chat because you said that anybody that wanted to stream, but no, you wanted me to find the conclusion page and read it or something? Did you want me to do that?
Yeah, the Clock of Destiny last page.
Yeah.
Clock of Destiny 1.
So the conclusion page reads, through scientific knowledge of the universal law of nature, as shown in the 12 signs of the zodiac, the square angle of 90 degrees, the monetary or dollar system was founded by the cultured Moors. Money has and never will uplift fallen humanity or nations. It requires a national and international mass education of universal law of nature as shown in the 12 signs of the zodiac to establish peace and to uplift fallen humanity. Moral principles generate from the 12 signs of the zodiac or signs from the 12 signs of the zodiac as shown by the 4 quarters of the 90 degrees, each which represent the 4 quarters of the earth. Also the 4 quarters of the dollar as a medium of exchange on global scales. In order for the common mass or on the global scales to understand the applied morals principles of the dollar system, it is necessary to temporarily destroy the dollar system until the 12 signs of the zodiac has been taught on the global scales. Then the dollar system can immediately be reestablished with moral principle, equality, justice, peace, and progress, minus the slave institutions known as the mosque, quote unquote mosque, church, and temple. The Moors of the U.S.A. are the only ones qualified to teach the science and principles of the 12 signs of the zodiac. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam more.
Islam.
Islam.
Right? That's all it takes. Study what the Prophet presented. Study what the Prophet presented is all that it takes.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do all this for no reason. He saw all of this stuff coming. And he put things in place for Moors. Put things in place for Moors.
Yep, and that's what they don't want. Grand Sheikh, they don't want us to get back how we were. They trying to control and trying to stop deter Moors into taking over this movement like we're supposed to, like the prophet left for us to do. You know, it's really it's becoming real plain and simple now how these Moors are trying to underhand what we are doing, and they've been underhanding what the prophet been doing, just like you said, more over 100 years.
Yeah.
So now they are mad right now to a point that, you know, who are these Moors is trying to tell us who we are, and, you know, I'm already established with the Moorish Science Temple and already have made deals with the Europeans, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to let them come and stop what I already got going on. No, buddy. We are going to come and stop what you got going on. We are going to stop all the folly. Because the prophet said that new Moors are coming in. It's going to come in and take over those temples and put you old Moors in the back because y'all not doing anything. All you doing is trying to close the cookie jar and stop the children from getting some cookies. That's all you're doing. And those cookies will set out for the children to eat. Okay? So why are you the gatekeeper? Why are you in front of the cookie jar not letting the children eat the cookies? Because you got those cookies for somebody else. That's why. All right? You put up a fraud, you for the people. You put up a fraud, I'm doing everything in my power for the people. Then you got Nation of Islam talking about they've been doing things for our people. Well, if you've been doing things for our people, why you haven't did it on a broad mass scale for people? It doesn't matter what creed, it doesn't matter what their religion is. If they're your people, you're supposed to be doing something for them, period. Okay? Ain't got nothing to do with no clubism. It got nothing to do if those are your people. You're supposed to be uplifting fallen humanity. I don't see that from these characters.
Right.
All I see is them trying to put their hands in people's pockets. That's all I see.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bozo clown said, "Get your hands out my pocket" when he assassinated a real leader.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, we have real leaders that's out here though. It can't be bought. You can't sway him. You can't confuse him. He knows exactly what's going on. He's a threat. Now imagine that threat is on a wide range scale. Not just one individual, but many individuals like that. And they don't want that to happen, but it's going to happen. I promise you it's going to happen. And when that day comes, that's it for them. They know it's it, and they already shaking in their boots now. Well, I heard a comedian said Mexican got on boot. So that's what they are right now. They scared, more. They are scared. They don't want to lose their little cushy positions that they got, but they already know that they already, like I said before, they de facto. What are they doing for the community? What are they doing to uplift people in their community right now? What are they doing? Please tell me right now, since they want to get on these platforms and talk about what Moors is not doing out here, and we haters and stuff because we don't have chains of this, that, and the third, but our prophet left all that. You thieves, you dirty Moors, went through the prophet's stuff. You saw his building that he was in, okay? But nobody in Chicago was talking about that. Where his grocery store is that he left, but ain't nobody talking about that. Where his newspaper that he left, ain't nobody talking about that. But they are grand sheiks of the Moorish Science Temple, and they have a better footing on what the prophet left. Right. So they talk about how you dirty ass Moors assassinated the prophet. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Kirkman Bay. Let's talk about that. Says all you Moorish Science Temple Moors talk about Moors outside of the temple and doing this at the third. Well, we know better. But since you got the title and since you're running the temple, you know better than us. That's your claim. Obviously, you don't know better than us because your actions speak louder than your words, more. And we see the Father. We see it. So when they get on these platforms, when they go in and start talking and slandering stuff about the prophet, sometimes I wish I could just jump through the portal, and you know, just like for real, more like I wish I could jump through the portal and just choke the hell out of them, like stop their vocal cords for spitting bull crap. You know what I mean? Because I already know it's slanderous. I already know it's lies. You liar! I'll tell you in your face, you a liar. You know what I mean? That's just like when your mother catch you and you know you do it wrong and you try to sit up there and lie to her. She already know you're a liar. She slap the hell out of you in your face. You see what I'm saying? More like, come on. You're not finna run that G on mother. Mother knows better than the mother. And mother figures you got too big for us. She gonna go get father. And father's finna tie you down so mother can still continue to slap the hell out of you. So it really, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, come on. If these guys are really, really, really on that much folly, they don't have nothing else better to do with their time to get out here and try to slander our prophet.
And again too, Noble Lee knew March 11th, 1929.
Of course he knew already. He already knew. That's why he set the stuff up the way he set it up.
Yeah. Brother Crombie Bay and Governor and Chief Head of the Temple in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Brother Charles Bay, Governor and Chief Head of the Temple in Cleveland, Ohio. These two brothers are empowered by the prophet to investigate business, etc. of Temple number 4 in Detroit, Michigan, because Lomax Bay has violated all divine laws of the prophet even before the prophet's face. Even before the prophet even was demised, these chumps. Even before the prophet's face. Before the prophet's face. February 15th, 1929. He claims that the prophet has no more power and the finance from Detroit would be in his charge. He wouldn't send any to the prophet.
Right, but you know what? More than to touch of wisdom, but let's hold that right there in Detroit. What Detroit looking like right now?
Yeah, exactly.
What Detroit is looking at right now for the damn dirty Moors crossing our prophet? What it looking like? Yeah. These dummies think this is a game. It's not a game. So if you think that you're winning, you're not winning. You're not gonna win. This is not a game.
Come back home.
I'm not. Yeah. Go ahead, Moore. That's all I had to say. You go ahead with your wisdom now, Moore.
Islam. He yelled with a loud voice, "Look at me, I will guide you through." This is lawful and living evidence spoken before 1,500 people, and the prophet was also present. I, the prophet, declare his office vacant and the name of Grand Governor discharged. He can only be a member according to law, because the Moorish Science Temple of America is a divine organization. Each temple is under supreme guidance of the prophet. When man fails after being placed head of the temple by the prophet of obeying our divine laws and constitutions, he is a traitor, an enemy of the divine creed, and unloyal to the national government USA, to which the movement is to make men and women better citizens. From the Prophet Noble Jew Ali.
Islam, man. Islam. Islam. And that's what these people don't understand. Rashid, like they think this is all a game. They're not really putting a puzzle together. You know what I mean? Like they're using different people to attack our prophet, attack our movement in each different direction. You know, that's why the prophet said, before he left us, he said, "I need faithful Moors."
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said. He said, "I need faithful Moors." He didn't say anything about you're not a Moor because you're not in the temple. Our prophet did not say that. He said he needs faithful Moors. Okay? And I think I'm gonna go and get those words, faithful, on me. I'm gonna go get that tattooed on me, because I'm gonna live my life accordingly, more. You know what I mean? Like, I'm tired of the folly. I'm tired of these more thinking that they're gonna get up here on their little platforms and slander our prophet. I don't care who you are. You could be a European. You're not gonna get up here on your little funky platform and slander our illustrious prophet, our beloved prophet. You're not gonna do that. I'm sorry, because I'm on my square. I'm the watch. I'm the watcher. He called me a watcher. Okay.
Islam. Brother Yusuf, you got anything to add in?
No, just the fact, like the Moor said, you know, like he said earlier, because it hit me too, like when you was reading the part when you know, the Lomax Bay with the prophet shutting that down, like, because they were being dirty Moors in front of the prophet. Like, it's not like something new. Like today we look at it like it's something new, like Moors are selling out now. You know, like they did this in front of him. You know what I mean? Like it should be nothing for him to do it now. He's not even here. They did it when it was in front of him. Yeah. So for him being gone, it's nothing now. It's nothing. They weren't even worried when the man was looking them right in the eye.
Crazy.
Right. And you know what type of dirtiest, grimiest things that you have to do that. Like, you know in your heart and your mind and your soul, this man came to help you and redeem you. And help, not just to redeem you, but to redeem everybody that look like you. But you're going to go so damn grimy, dirty.
Low down,
yo. I'm talking about so grimy and dirty, it's so filthy, it's just, you'll probably have to soak in Lysol or something for 2 days to get it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And to add on too, because now it leads to this video. You know, videos like this brother right here, videos before his video, because the prophet came in 1913. If it wasn't for the sellout you know, and us being 100 years behind, then these videos wouldn't even be made like this, because everything would be said and done. The Moors would have been where they needed to be at.
Yep.
Right.
Definitely.
You know, the prophet would have had everything set up where it needed to be.
Right, and not to cut you off more, but this knowledge that we're talking about, it would be already made accessible. We wouldn't be out here going as hard as we do. You see what I'm saying? Because all this information that we're talking about will already been made accessible. See?
Right.
Yeah.
But hey, we're dealing with people. Like I tell my family members, you know what I mean? I said right now is the time for y'all to get your mind right and study and start looking at things that you didn't have time to look at.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. They're giving you time right now. They're giving you time.
Right. Right. So you don't have to believe everything I say. Go on, take the time. You ain't doing nothing. You ain't going to work.
You're not going anywhere.
You ain't working.
They're working.
You ain't going nowhere. It's the curfew now is 8 to 8 now. So what are you doing? You're not trying to look up this stuff. You're not trying to see what's really going on. You're not trying to put yourself in a peaceful state. You see?
Nope.
Right now you need to try to find out what's going on so you won't be in the blind. Or you won't get blindsided.
Right.
Okay? So, you know what I mean? These are the tactics that these people want you to be. They want you to be all up in arms and rah, and don't have time to think and put you in fear-mongering. You see what I'm saying? Fear-mongers. That's what they want you to, so they can hurt you all up in like little sheep into the little thing, to the slaughter. You know? We gotta think more. We gotta really think. Like, we can't just sit up here and just let these fools get on top of the roof and pee on us and call it rain. That's over with. That is over with. So when we coming for love, truth, peace, freedom. And then after that, we gotta let justice take its course, and those avatars gonna be swinging. They gonna swing. So I don't know why these more don't. I don't know why these more think that we're gonna sit back and let them just roll out the folly. I don't know why they think that. Because the folly is, you know what I mean, and then they scared because they know they got to put us back on the constitutional. They got to put us back on the constitutional standard because they know they've been running this country in de facto mode. They know this. That's why everything is coming to a halt right now. That's why we can't. They talk about some coronavirus. Man, please. I haven't seen nobody die in my neighborhood, in my community. I haven't heard nothing of that. You know, I'm not saying that, these people are not capable of injecting you with something or spraying you with some biological chemical warfare. I'm not saying that they can't do that, but I'm just saying from my perspective, I'm not seeing that. All I see is people not going to work anymore because I really do feel that their whole economic stuff is crashed because they've been robbing the American people for so long. And they've been having their henchmen, their little minions helping them do so. So this ain't nothing but I could say this is like control. They're trying to control everything right now. They trying to put everything in the containment. They're trying to contain, like the false containment plan right now. They got trying to contain every damn thing. You know what I mean? Because they don't want people to. I really think they don't want people to really just put one and two together and click and find out that these people are robbing them. You see? And I really think that they try to take off all this corrupt stuff that's going on now too. So you know, it's just a whole new playing field. I feel for more that's doing what the prophet wants them, you know, doing what the prophet expected them to do. It's a new time of era now.
Right. And leave the ego home.
Yeah, leave the ego at the house. You know what I did more? I took my ego and I buried it. That's what I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if a real Moor can't come to me and speak to me and tell me, look, Moor, you know, tighten up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's just like my brother coming to me and telling me, tighten up, yo.
Right.
I know you. You better than that. You see what I'm saying?
But that ego will make them not accept that. Not accept that tightening up.
Yeah, they in a what we call it, the lower self there more. They in the lower self.
Yeah.
Because if you can't take constructive criticism from your brother, from your mother, your sisters, from your nation, you can't take that. Well, then you don't give a damn about your nation. You don't care. You see, you don't care about your nation. You're just a damn naysayer that's just trying to get your little trinkets up.
Clout.
Look at me. Look at me.
Clout chasing.
Look at me. Yeah. Clout chasing. Look at me. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Come on, Moor. You're supposed to be a noble. You don't need to be looked at. You're a noble.
Imagine that. We got so much. It's like the sisters, they're so beautiful with their own natural hair or whatever, but they're gonna go do madness with it and then think they're beautiful.
Well, you know what, Moor? I'm gonna put that on society. You know what I mean? A lot of our women, you know what I mean, they growed up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's social engineering. You know what I mean? They're socially engineered to think. Socially engineered to think it's okay to sell out. You know?
Yeah, and then like they try to put Madam C.J. Walker up as like a pioneer for us, but she wasn't. Now she was chilling with Rockefeller there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, we at WD the Bulls. You know what I mean? Those were sellouts. They would sell out more. You heard me? A lot of people probably don't want. What he mean? What he mean? They were sellouts. Well, my research say they were. That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Because they tried to make it like earlier when we had more footing before the Jim Crow era and all the laws and all that pertaining. You know what I mean? And that's when Lincoln supposed to have put the proclamation and put us back on even footing, right? They assassinated him before he could do that. The whole time when we go into our history, okay, as far as our history, not the European history, we have our own doing us in. We have our own taking us out. And that's what's going on. Like, we got Boule people that are gatekeepers that's at the gate stopping you from doing whatever you need to do. That's just how they got this society ran. And then there'd be people you would even think, you know what I mean, that will do it to you. But they doing it to you. They doing it to you. Daughters of I think it's Daughters of American Republic or something like that. I forgot what it's called, but it's little fractions that, you know, we have women that wear feathers. You see what I'm saying? You know, they in sororities. You know what I mean? And they have these certain jobs. You know what I mean? As far as city officials and stuff like that. But you'll never see them without, you'll never see them with their feds out. You know what I mean? They have their feds on, you know, in their little organizations. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stopping real de jure Moors from going in and doing what they're supposed to do so they can uplift fallen humanity. No, you got gemstones and all this stuff all over your fence, and it's tied down when your cap's supposed to be swinging 360 degrees of knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So when you got your tassel pit down, that means you a slave to the cracker. That's what it means. You a slave to the cracker. You a cracker flunky. That's what you are. You the cracker too. You the cracker too. That's what you are. You a cracker. That's what you are. You a cracker. You down with the crackers. Cause you get your little Federal Reserve notes. You know what I mean? You get your little mortgages. You get your little. You know what I mean? You got your little house or whatnot, and you okay, but you don't own nothing. They own you. You the property. But you got your knowledge though. You know who the Moors are. You know you're a Moor. You know all this that, but you're still going the opposite of that. Who's being played?
Yeah, those are the worst ones.
Who's the big dummy? Huh? I'm Red Fox. I know I'm Red Fox, so you must got to be the big dummy.
Got to be.
Definitely more. And you know what I mean? So like I said before, you know what I mean? Us Moors, when we go out here and start putting out paperwork down and putting these people on notice, we need to take these people's names down. And we need to put them, we need to plaster them. We need to show them, we need to show the people, you know what I mean, okay, this is who's stopping us from getting our freedom. This is the person that's being the most agile and stopping this movement. You know? Because they need to be exposed. They really do. For their folliness.
Let's on to that.
And just like you said, Greg, we got Europeans out here doing the work.
Yeah, more work than Moors.
Yep.
Yeah.
More work than Moors. Which is crazy.
We got them out here doing the work, and then we got our own people. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't Moor. I'm Indian. I'm American Indian. I'm Blackfoot.
Right. Yeah. To add on to that, I've never seen one video with a European saying, you know, they need to get their freedom or get naturalized through any of these so-called black guys at all, or Indians at all, for them to be recognized as American citizens. I've never seen none of that for these Europeans. They never go to any of them so-called Indians, never go to any of these so-called African American guys, none of them. But I've seen Europeans show paperwork of them getting freedom or naturalization papers from Moors in order for them to be de jure citizens here in Morocco. Like I've seen their paperwork, but I've never seen it for any other of these brands that are out here. Like that just struck me just now, like crazy, because you know, Europeans, they only come to Moors. I've only seen them come to Moors to get their freedom or whatnot.
It's one European. His name is Iso. He went and got his Moorish paperwork from a Moor. You know what I mean? And they the only ones that's really de jure, because the ones that's running around here with this naturalization, that's de facto. They allowed their government to go into de facto practices when they became a democracy. Okay, and I'm gonna add on to that too more with I'm gonna give you nationality, and nationalization and natural law. Okay? And I'm going to read it right quick. Let's go on to naturalization. The act of adopting a foreigner and clothing him with the privileges of native citizens. U.S. versus Harbaugh, TCA, Connecticut, 62F2D 759761. Collective naturalization. This takes place where a government by treaty, now you heard what they said, by treaty or cession, acquires the whole or part of the territory of a foreign nation and takes to itself the inhabitants thereof, clothing them with the right of citizenship either by the terms of the treaty or by subsequent legalization. State versus Boyd, 31 Nib 682 48 Northwest 739. Opinion of Justices, 68 ME 589. Then it says naturalized to confer citizenship upon an alien, to make a foreigner the same in respect to rights and privileges as if he were a native citizen or subject. Then it says naturalized citizen, one who being an alien by birth has received citizenship under the laws of the state or nation. Okay? Now, we're going to go into national government. The government of a whole nation as distinguished from that of a local or territorial division of the nation, and also as distinguished from that of a league of confederation. A national government is a government of the people of a single state or nation, united as a community by what is termed the social compact and possessing complete and perfect supremacy over persons and things, so far as they can be made the lawful objects of objects of civil government. A federal government is distinguished from a national government by its being the government of a community of independent and sovereign states united by compact. Okay? Pika Branch Bank versus Kanu and Ohio Street, 393. Then it says nationality, that quality of character which arises from the fact of a person belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance, while domiciling, usually especially where reference to allegiance with domicile determines his civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or by naturalization. According to saving nationality is also used as opposed to territory for the purpose of distinguishing the case of a nation having no nation territory, e.g. the Jews. Save citizens equal 346 Westlaw. Then it says nationalization. In Spanish and Mexican law, nationalization. The nationalization of property is an act which denotes that it has become that of the nation by some process of law, whereby private individuals or corporations have been, for specified reason, deprived thereof. Paul Metz Law, 749. Then it says nation of law. See international law. Then, native, a natural born subject or citizen, a denzel by birth, one who owes his domicile or citizenship to the fact of his birth within the country referred to. The term may also include one born abroad. If his parents were then citizens of the country and not permanently resided in the foreign parts, U.S. versus Wong King, Arkansas, 169 U.S. 649. Then it got, nature versus maximum. The force of nature is greatest. Nature is doubly great. Then we got natural law. The expression, natural law, or just natural, was largely used in the philosophy, speculation, philosophical speculations of the Roman just of the Antonine age, and was intended to denote a system of rules and principles for the guidance of human conduct with independently or enacted law, or of the systems peculiar to any one people, might be discovered by the rational intelligence of man, and will be found to grow out of and conform to his nature, meaning by that word his whole mental, moral, and physical constitution. The point of departure for this conception was the Stowe doctrine of a life order according to nature, which in its turn rested upon the purely superpositionist existence in primitive times of a state of nature. That is a condition of society in which men universally were governed solely by a rational and consistent obedience to the need, impulses, and promptings of their true nature, such nature being as yet undefaced by dishonesty, falsehood, or indulgence of the baser passion. Main answer law 50 Esquire, just naturals.
Islam.
So
and going back again to if we aren't the foreigner, then that process of naturalization is really for them.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only people who should be initiating that are the Aboriginal and Indigenous people.
Yeah,
there's nobody else
yeah,
that, right? So when the because the Indians always bring up the Moors being the sellouts, right? But we always want to put it out there that who is it that has more treaties with this foreigner, Indians or Moors?
It's Moors, because we already know, my research tells me that Moor is synonymous with Indian. Because Indian is a code word for Moor. Now, when they go into these dirty $5 Indians, I'm gonna call them $5 Indians. I'm not even gonna call you Moors right now, because this is what you want to identify. So I'm gonna call you a $5 Indian, okay? Because real Indians are Moors, okay? The real deal Holyfield is Moors, not Indian, not Indian. I'm not gonna repeat this. It's Moors, not Indian, because that's code word. American Indian is code word for Moor. Okay? It's code word. So when you get these Negroes, so-called Negroes, these so-called African Americans, these so-called blacks, these so-called colors, calling themselves Indians, they down with the sellout. They down with it. Or they that damn ignorant that they don't even know the difference. One of the two, more.
I don't know if we ever asked. I don't know if we ever asked. I can't remember if we ever asked you how you came into the Moorish movement. We ever asked you that?
Oh, yeah, you asked me how I came in.
Okay.
And that I can go ahead and expound on that again if you want me to.
Oh no, it just hit me right now, but I couldn't remember if I had asked you or not. But what I would ask is how has the teachings of Noble Drew Ali grounded you?
Well, the teachers, you know what I mean, has grounded me all the way into like just grounded me all the way to the point that I don't want to do anything else. Because one thing about my people, we'll go to back for something we believe in. we will go from to back to what we believe in. And in my heart, I don't believe I know this is true. Okay, Mark? I know this is true because this is my salvation. This is what I've been looking for all my life. All my life I know that something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. I knew, oh, the people, it's racism. Oh, it's this, that, and the third. It's white supremacy. It's da-da-da-da-da. And I knew those answers were wrong. Even though I was accepting them, but I knew they were wrong, more. When I first seen him on talk with his feds on, okay? When I first seen it, when I first seen my people talk with the feds on, I stopped everything what I was doing to listen to this brother because he was so articulate and he was studied. Okay? And he was studied. So I'm like, who is this brother? And it was Hakeem Bey. Okay? I was listening to it. And then I did, after I was listening to him, I turned around and got a hold of Taj, and I already knew, all right, okay, this is what I've been looking for all my life. This is it. Because like I told you before, my grandfather was an Ivan. He was in the Nation of Islam. He left that and went into being an Ivan.
Yeah.
So I already had Islam, teachers. I already had lessons. I had lessons from guys in the earth when I was in the streets of New York. So I had lessons, but I was doing niggerish things still. Because to me, it was like, well, these people just out here doing something. They're not really bringing no justice. They're not really bringing no upliftment to our people. I don't see it. But when I ran into the wars, that changed my whole perspective, more. That changed my whole perspective on life, period. Because I knew in my heart it was the truth. When I got a hold of the prophet's lesson, because he told us, my heart sing, more. My heart sing. It sung, and it sung, and it sung, and it still singing. Because I know this is the truth. There's nothing that you told me or anybody else. I went and looked at this stuff myself, more. Myself. I did my own evaluation. Myself. I self-law am master. And no Babu Ali touched my heart. And I knew this is for me. This is mine here. This is mine. This is mine. Mine. Islam is mine.
Islam.
And my brothers and my mothers. They're mine and theirs. And if anyone got them dirty more trying to stop it, their ass is in fire. They go into fire. Because the prophet, he's not a joke. He's not. This is not for play, more. This is not for play, more. Y'all need to really understand, and understand that this is not for play, more. This is to uplift your people and live a upright, pure life as being a noble. That's how it's grounded me, more, because I look at myself totally different. I have high honors for myself and my people and my nation. I love my mothers. I love my brothers. This is what the teaching gave me. This is what the lesson showed of me. So that's how it transformed me, more. I don't do the same things I do anymore, more. Straight up, more. Like when people talking about, oh, you got to go in a house and be in a house from 8 o'clock to 8, bro. Well, fool, I be in the house at 8 o'clock every day before even all this stuff.
Islam.
I already be there. I already be there studying all my stuff. So when I do something, when I do go out here and represent the prophet, I'm representing the prophet. And I'm representing my nation. That's what I'm representing. The prophet said, imitate I, the prophet.
Straight.
And I'm going to say, I am that I am, more. I am that I am. And I'm going to be myself, regardless. But it's going to be a better self. Each and every day is going to be a better Malik. It's going to be a better Malik. Every day is going to be a better Malik. A better Malik. So I can achieve my higher self. Because that's what I'm in it for. I'm in it to cultivate the science, to uplift our fallen humanity and the woman. That's what I'm in here for. I'm here to uplift the woman. The woman. Because I'm here. I'm her protector. That's what we are here for, more. We are here to protect the Moabites.
Islam. Oh, hold on. Let me get this more in here. Islam,
more.
Peace, more. What's good?
Islam.
I don't know. I'm just listening to the class. Islam, Yusuf. Yo, Mufti, man, you got me turned up in here. Yo, bro, powerful all day, man. We gotta tear up these things. We gotta tear up to the fact, though. These people playing so many games. But I was reading. I'm reading out of this book called "The Princess and the Prophet" by this dude Jacob S. Dorman, and he was actually trying to go in on the prophet. But it's funny because he was having a hard time because the prophet that dope. And so,
Isn't that the book with the pedophilia or whatever?
no, this is the one where they tried to say that this guy is Prophet Noah Drew Ali or whatever, and the whole Thomas Drew Ali thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we caught him. We know who Thomas Drew Ali is. That's this guy that fake the prophet's identity. So, when I went into it, I got to this chapter 12 called Moorish Science, and what caught my attention is that he's trying to go in on the prophet, but as he reads, he takes this woman Lilly Sloane, her account of what went on or whatever. So like I'll read that, John, to show y'all like how even though he tried to downplay the prophet, it's kind of hard to do it because he did so much. So it goes, I'll show y'all the book as I read, I guess. So it says, according to a writer employed for the Illinois Writer Project, a program of the New Deal, one hot August day in 1925, a plump middle-aged matron named Lilly Sloane set off to place a bet with her local policy syndicate. From the cool recesses of pool halls, an infrequent click of ivory balls floated out to hung suspended in the brilliant sunshine. According to the anonymous writer who reported the story and imagined the scene about a decade later, she gazed down 37th Street where it crossed State Street, and on the west side, in the corner of a dusty, old patchy between two buildings, one man stood on a box. He stood on with a full glare of copper in the late afternoon sun, and a fez on his head that set his whole face on fire. The man gesticulated to a skeptical crowd, a black streamer trailing from the top of his fez. He was brown and slender and had a little black mustache and was not at all bad to look at, the author reported. Suddenly, the man with the fez called her by name in a rich, soft voice. Lilly Sloane, I, your prophet, command ye to come unto me and learn the truth to be free in the nation of your father God Allah. Startlingly, Lilly looked all around her, but there was no one else that could be called. It was the man with the fez. The woman stumbled into the State Street in a daze. She almost did not want to look across the street, but she had to. The sun was a huge disk of orange fire, and in front of the sun, small and slender, straight on the empty box, the man was standing. He was motionless, arms outstretched on each side, his body a cross on fire. He was staring straight at Lilly Sloane, while bystanders nudged each other and made jokes at the expense of this Hindu, a word that was in scare quotes in the 1930s, 1930s original. The speculators began to laugh, but the prophet stayed with his arms wide and a burning light in his face across against the sun. There was something arresting about his visage, burning with some holy and at the same time, full of strange kind of passion. Lilly Sloane stood frozen in the middle of the summer heat, so long that the angry white streetcar motorman had clung his horn at her to move. Half dazed by the sun and the vision of the diminutive man and with the brimless red hat, she wandered into a local policy outlet and paid the exorbitant sum of 52 cents and all she had. On the number she played 574. When her numbers hit at the policy wheel later that evening, Lilly Sloane invested her riches in renting a room house with 2 top floors that occupied the space of her ground floor. An anonymous writer continued. But the vision of the man would not leave her. Who was the little man with the fez and his face like an angel? Not after long, she saw him once again preaching at the top of the box on 37th Street. Once again, she passed the people known as Negroes who were paying little mind of him and scoffed at his gerrymand. Laugh, he said, the little man roared, but one day will come, the day will come when you will weep. When the wrath of my Father God of law is poured out upon the earth, you will regret that you did not heed the prophet. This is why you are so easy to trick. This is why the European, the man you call white man, can even keep you in bondage. Oh, you will listen to him. Anything he tells you is all right. He took out the Asia and gave you the slave names, but you call you black folks, colored people, Ethiopians, and you believe him? I tell you, brothers and sisters, this ain't but one race on earth. No, there ain't but one race on earth, and it's the human race. They got 2 branches, the Europeans and the man called the white men and the Asiatics. That's us. but you know that us but you know that because the European don't want you to know it. He wants to call you by your slave name and keep you working for him, and you let him do it. It's your own fault, brothers. He stopped, and the laughter was less confident now, less mocking. Lilly Sloane edged across to the crowd unnoticed. Some of the people were listening with rapt attention. Some were uncomfortable. The little man opened his arms again and a cross on his face from the sun. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and learn the truth of your nationality and birthright, because you are not colored, you are not black folks, and you're not Ethiopians. You must claim a free name, a Moorish name. Learn your forefathers' divine ancient creed that you will learn to love instead of hate. Islam.
Damn. That was crazy.
Now, that's what I'm saying. This, oh, wow. Hold up, Morris. I got to read this one part. Oh, wow. I just seen it. I'm going to skip right to the part. It says, Lilly Sloane worshipped her newfound prophet. She became Lilly Sloane Bay. She was no longer a Negro.
Wow.
How does the book do that, bro? Damn. Well, so we see how the prophet was working. If he spoke to you in the streets, it was a wrap. You was up. Obviously, even if it was a group of hating Negroes that didn't know themselves, preaching a white man is this, the white man is that, all the way back in the 20s. He said y'all is idiots. Y'all don't know that he took y'all from Asia and put the slave on y'all. Y'all don't know that y'all really the Asiatics and he's the European. Y'all don't know that. You keep calling them white man. You deny your prophet, but the day will come where y'all gonna weep. You laugh today, but they gonna come where you weep. And the day gonna come where you have to heed all of these prophecies. Didn't he say that one day it's going to be the blood is going to run so high it'll reach the horse's brow? I hope that horse is drinking water. But I don't know, bro. I don't know. It's not looking too good. I think that horse going to be standing straight up. And if Moors is wise, we're gonna be down drinking the water and above a high road to where we're not even getting washed by that blood anyway.
Islam.
So, you know what I mean? I just like to share that and show y'all that even when they try to display and downplay our prophet, there's nothing you could do. He said something that can't be tore up. You know what he said it'll do if you try to tear it up, right?
Exactly. They tear you up.
Right up.
That's right.
Like this paper fiat. They coming with the digital. They coming with the digital, Morris. So be wise. Hold on.
Right.
Straight up. Islam, Brother Yusuf.
Islam, Brother Yusuf.
Islam. More is coming in with crazy information. I love how you open up the platform now, Grand Sheik, where they can come in and just say stuff that I've never even heard before. I was like, what? What is going on? You know what I mean? Because I never heard a couple of things. A couple of more came on the platform. All new information. And I'm like, wow, man. Like, so I like how this just opens up the floor.
Yeah.
More from all over.
Because as a collective, we all research, you know what I mean? So we all are getting different parts of the puzzle. You know what I mean? So that's all that's going to do for us more is that the Jordans come together like Voltron. You know what I mean? And
yep. And it shows the unity.
Yeah, the unity is everything, more.
Islam, Brother Kassim.
Oh, Islam, it tried to knock me out, but they playing. So I'm gonna just go off the top. Y'all can look it up though. It's you got to look up. It's basically a bill that they're putting out to cover all this. You know, all the people saying that they want fiat for this thing going down.
Yeah.
They're going to give people digital wallets and digital money, and then they're going to, digital fiat. They're going to take over the whole thing that's called Bitcoin, and they're going to be running federal digital currency on people, and that's going to be the new thing to take over. So it's a good time for Moors to invest in all the silver right now. Like, get y'all silver and get y'all stuff together, because when that happens and it finally does fall. Now look at what Trump is doing when it comes to the Moors. You know, following prophecy, say, watch the news, you know, follow European because he's telling the truth. I'm gonna make the European tell the truth. And then it's like when I'm gonna keep him in government long enough to teach y'all how to run government. And then when the industries turn, it'll be in the hands of the Asiatics. So right now, Trump is making it to where every nation has to buy back into the de facto United States. So when it flips over, we'll be the ones that can direct everything from our allodial and, you know, undebted, I guess you could say, allodial credit, because that's what's going to happen when we have silver, and then they need something to buy back into, because the de factos is going to be starving. If we got silver still and it's worth a whole bunch when it goes up, then we're going to be the ones that be able to control whatever we want, and we're not going to have to buy back in, because if anything is given on gifts, we can get it back for free. That's what they've been doing to us the whole time. We got to use the game that we taught them and pimp them back with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the cosmos is opening up for the times to be right. So, you know.
Islam. That sounds about right, more, because, you know what I mean? Because when I was looking into things too, is they have to, this whole platform that they on, you know what I mean, they took these seals off. When I was looking at the news, it just say Washington, or Washington DC on it. They don't have no seal, no nothing. So really, just like Moore said, it's in the Moore's hands. But we have to, what we need to do is, Moors need to come in that's already knowing, right, that's in these territories, right, and you know that your Moor Science Temple is not doing anything. What y'all need to do is rally, get together, get those Moors that know these, that been going to those temples, who got the balls, okay, to go in and hold some of these sheiks accountable for what they've been doing, because that's the only way we're going to be able to clean this mess up. We can't sit back and just be like, because all faithful Moors know what the prophet instructed us to do. He said this is your movement. He didn't say that it was my movement, everybody else's movement. No, it's ours collectively, our movement. So what we need to do is start cleaning the house. You know what they say, spring cleaning? Well, it's time to spring clean, Moors.
Oh yeah, I need your number, bro.
Spring clean.
I need to get your number after this class so we can do some stuff off the line and you know set up some moves. Cause I live in Shaker Mexican territory and it's crazy dirty out here. And I told you it's been Moors that been getting sent to me. They've been jumping out of the movement because of how dirty it is. And I would love to do some spring cleaning. Spring cleaning needed. This territory too allodial for all of that.
Like those Moors that try to jump out, don't jump out, Moor. Don't jump out. Just reorganize.
Right.
I'm a firm advocate of reorganization. If you got folly in your territory, y'all real Detroit Moors, don't get rowdy. Don't start marching. Don't start doing none of that. Get quiet. Get silent. Don't say nothing. Move step and organize. Then when you come back on the scene, then you put those dirty Moors where they need to be. This is what we need to be talking about, Moors. We need to be talking about cleaning house.
Yes, strategy. We could mop these people. I can't wait, bro.
Cleaning house, y'all.
It's gonna be a street full of pheasants, bro. Shoot, bro.
Anybody else? Anybody else in there got anything? We're putting the link in the chat. You wanna share something? Express something? If not, that might be it. Islam to all the Moors. Islam, brother Yusuf. You got anything to add on?
No, just Islam to all the Moors that came onto the platform. Give thanks to the Grand Sheikh and all the Canaanland Moors and all the Moors in the chat. And give thanks to the Prophet. Honors to the Prophet. Islam Moors, give thanks, y'all. Give thanks, Grand Sheikh.
Peace and love, man. Islam.
Peace and love. Islam. Yeah.
Islam, Morris.
Brother Menelik, I gave Brother Kasir your number.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
More. I wanna say this before we leave the chat or whatever.
Yeah, man.
All these Jordan Moors, I love you. I'm gonna say it again. All these Jordan Moors, I love you. I love you just like the Prophet loved you. Okay? Y'all all my brothers, y'all all my mothers. Right? And we need to get together and really do what the Prophet exacted us to do. That's all I gotta say, and I want to yield the floor with that. Peace and love. And that's it, Moors.
Islam. Peace and love to all Moors.
Islam.
Peace and love, Morris.
Islam. Call me, Moore. Make sure you call me, okay?
Oh no, definitely, Morris. Definitely.